Just ahead on CTV News.
Congressman Steny Hoyer announced he's not seeking re-election. I'm Jonathan Hunter. Coming up, I'll have more on his announcement today on the House floor.
And
Governor Wes Moore makes a big funding announcement in College Park. I'm Katera Jones. I'll have all those details coming up on CTV News.
plus, we sit down for an exclusive interview with the new Speaker of the House of Delegates, Jocelyn Pena-Melnick.
I'm going to be the Speaker of the House, and I'm going to do this job, and I'm going to do it well.
These stories and more on CTV News, starting now.
Good evening, this is CTV News for January 8th. I'm Michaela Newton.
And I'm Anaya Falcon. Thanks so much for joining us.
Well, after nearly 6 decades in politics, Congressman Steny Hoyer says he's not seeking re-election.
He made that announcement this morning on the House floor. The decision for him not to seek re-election will open the door for someone else to fill a seat that he has owned for years.
For over 6 decades, Congressman Steny Hoyer has been a public servant. The 86-year-old believes it's time to step aside and pass the baton to someone else.
I have decided not to seek another term in the People's House. I make this decision with sadness, for I love this House.
And that is Congressman Steny Hoyer. He was first elected to serve District 5 back in 1981. And for more than 4 decades, he remained in that seat. Today, he thanked his supporters.
To the people of Prince George's County, particularly the African American community, without whom I would not have won my elections. To the people of the 5th District, who gave me a majority of their votes 23 times.
Hoyer was inspired to go into politics when he was a student at the University of Maryland. Hearing a speech from then Senator John F. Kennedy is what sealed the deal.
He urged us to do our duty in those days of world chaos. In particular, he charged us students to become more active in our communities.
Just a couple years later, he was elected to the Maryland State Senate at the age of 27, becoming the youngest president in 1975. As a congressman, he was known as a moderate Democrat. He championed landmark bills such as the American Disabilities Act and Help America Vote. He supported the Affordable Care Act and worked hard to secure federal funding to help Maryland's economy.
I won elections and lost a couple, celebrated triumphs and suffered setbacks, enjoyed friendships and endured hardships. As the song says, some days are diamonds, some days are stone.
As Hoyer prepares to leave office, he has a charge for his fellow colleagues to come together in a bipartisan way to get things done.
I urge my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to examine their conscience, renew their courage, and carry out the responsibilities that the first article of the Constitution demands.
Hoyer still has 1 year left on his term. At least 9 people have announced they are running for his seat. That includes 6 Democrats, 1 Republican, and 2 independents. As you can imagine, this was an emotional announcement for Hoyer as he fought back tears a couple times during his speech. I'm Jonathan Hunter. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Jonathan. Republican Congressman Glenn Thompson thanks Steny Hoyer today for his years of service on the House floor.
Well, a brutal fire in Beltsville yesterday sends firefighters to the hospital and leaves a family displaced. First responders arrived at the 4900 block of Daisy Creek Terrace around 6:30 p.m. Flames were coming out the 2-story home and was quickly extinguished. 8 adults and 3 children were displaced. 2 firefighters were transported for evaluation and released last night. Investigators are working to determine the cause of the fire.
And since November, 100 families have been living without heat at the Marylander condominiums in Langley Park. The property management company says they have been reaching out to the county and police, but haven't received any help. Quasar Property Management says vandals linked to a nearby drug and homeless camp severely damaged the building's boiler system just before Thanksgiving, which now needs to be replaced, which has left residents without heat and electricity for months. The managing director of Quasar Property Management says he has received no response from Councilmember Juanica Fisher to address this issue as she previously promised.
We've reached out, I've left voicemails, I've called. We've been sending emails continuously to the office. I think the last significant communication we had, we were told that things were happening behind the scenes that we're not privy to. And this is before the crisis happened. But we haven't had any sort of discussions with her office. But as a whole, this crisis could have been avoided had there been communication through Councilmember Fisher's office. You know, it's small failures across different agencies over time, over the years, and they snowballed and resulted in this catastrophe that we're seeing now.
We've been in contact with the Maryland condominium for like 2 years. And you know what? Even my predecessor, Delegate Taveras, was talking about she's been dealing with the Marylander before I got here. So I think it's incredible to say that we have not been in contact because there's a ton of email correspondence and everything else. So we've been not only in contact with them, but most importantly, my residents who have been without heat, who have been the ones dealing with an insufficient management company of a private property. As you know, it's not a county facility, it's not county owned. It was not even built with taxpayer money. Okay, so it's a private building that the county is stepping up because our residents that are renters, most of them are renters in that building, deserve that.
The Department of the Environment permits, inspections, and enforcement is expected to inspect the property on January 13th. Meanwhile, the property management company is working with a bank in hopes to get $17 million in financing to address the community issues. If you know of any nonprofits or translators that can help this community, reach out to the email address on your screen. And as we approach another Maryland legislative session in Annapolis, all eyes will be on the budget. Despite the potential budget shortfall, Governor Wes Moore is looking to invest more state dollars toward public safety.
But exactly how much funding is he looking to allocate to law enforcement? CTV's Katera Jones is standing by outside the Maryland State Police Barrack in College Park with the details.
With the Maryland General Assembly expected to meet in just a matter of days, the budget is top of mind. And today in College Park, Governor Wes Moore is proposing a budget that will include $124.1 million in funding going to support law enforcement.
You know, as governor, I've been clear from our earliest days that public safety is my #1 priority.
Flanked by Prince George's County leaders, local and state police, Governor Wes Moore laid out his proposed plan to increase funding for law enforcement statewide in the FY 2027 budget. The proposed funding, which sits at a whopping $124.1 million, will support overtime patrol, specialized enforcement efforts, and new equipment for officers. All of this comes at a time where reports show that Maryland could be facing another $1 billion budget deficit.
We are committed to stopping at nothing to make sure that our communities are safe. That yes, we are going to make sure that for the 4th year in a row, I will present a balanced budget to the people of this state. I have said that the budget that I will present is not one where we are not going to raise taxes on the people of the state of Maryland, but I'm also clear that we are going to invest in public safety. We are going to invest in public education. We are going to invest in housing. We are going to make sure that people have real pathways to work and wages and wealth inside of the state of Maryland.
While the governor wants to give more money to state law enforcement agencies, Maryland is seeing an improvement in its crime numbers. Preliminary data from the governor's office shows that homicides statewide went down by 25% last year, and homicides in Prince George's declined by 33% in 2025.
This is a constant issue because one crime is too many. One crime is too many because it affects individuals, families, and communities. It's really no matter how great other things are going in your community, if there's a crime, it changes how you feel about your community.
With more than $1 billion deficit looming, Maryland lawmakers will have the final say on how much funding law enforcement will get in the FY 2027 budget. The Maryland General Assembly will convene on January 14th. Katara Jones, CTV News.
And continue to follow CTV News as we keep you updated on Maryland's fiscal year 2027 budget.
And now he says
U.S. Senator Chris Van Hollen spoke on the Senate floor against President Trump's unauthorized act of war to bring about regime change in Venezuela. In his remarks, the senator denounced Trump's decision to put American troops in harm's way for the sole purpose of taking control of the country's oil.
We all support that goal. Mr. President, that's what this has been about from the beginning. Grabbing and controlling Venezuela's oil for the benefit of Trump's billionaire buddies. That's why Wall Street appears to be drooling at the prospect of making more money in Venezuela. So I think we should start by pointing out the fact that the Trump administration has been engaged in a long campaign of deception.
Senator Van Hollen also urged other lawmakers to reclaim Congress's constitutional authority over war powers and prevent President Trump from taking further offensive action against Venezuela without the required authorization from Congress.
And you're watching CTV News. I'm Anaya Falcon.
And I'm Michaela Newton. Still to come, 3 childhood friends have come together to author a book focused on friendship and female empowerment.
After the break, find out what inspired the women to write the book and how to attend the upcoming book launch. Back in a moment.
Hi, I'm Leland Melvin, and I traveled to space twice as a NASA astronaut. Space technologies help protect our precious Earth. Space helps us monitor changes in carbon emissions, track the pace of climate change. It even helps us fight natural disasters. Make sure that you get out to your local science museum or go to spaceforall.us to explore and learn about space and science. Space is for all.
Welcome back. We are now less than a week away from the Maryland General Assembly. About 3 weeks ago, Jocelyn Pena-Melnick made history after being elected as the first Afro-Latina and first immigrant elected Speaker of the House of Delegates. Coming after former House Speaker Adrian Jones, Pena-Melnick says she has big shoes to fill. In an exclusive sit-down interview, Pena-Melnick spoke about her top legislative priorities and her journey to becoming House Speaker.
I grew up in the Dominican Republic. It's an island, a small island. I grew up with my grandparents, and my sister and I lived with them. So at one time, I remember there were 17 of us. It was a small house. They had 3 very small bedrooms. I shared the bedroom with my grandparents, and I shared the bed with, it was a small twin-size bed with my sister. When we would go to school, we had to walk in the sun coming back, 12:30, 1 o'clock in the island, in the Caribbean. That's really hot. And we would walk for more than an hour, come home and not find a meal. So that is how I grew up. That is what makes the person I am. My mom used to call me La Abogadita, the little lawyer. So I tell people to be careful with, the power of their words, right? Because I believed that I could be a lawyer. And later on in life, I became a lawyer, the first in my family to go to school. I was a public defender for a little bit and a prosecutor as well. I have always had a sense of what's right and wrong and making sure that I was a voice for my community. And I finally gave in and ran for the local city council in College Park. And that's how my appetite for, politics began. My legislative priorities will be housing. And I'm looking forward to seeing the proposals that the governor has. I know that housing is an issue. People cannot afford it. It is very difficult to get a loan. In addition to that, my priorities are not just housing, but also energy. People are struggling to pay their bills, and we have to give people relief. It's important. Healthcare is one of my priorities. As someone who has been on the health committee for 20 years, right, that is something that is close to my heart. That big, awful bill, that's the way I like to call it, is going to actually now require work requirements and redetermination every 6 months. It's expected that we will, about 140,000 people will lose their Medicaid. I'm going to be the Speaker of the House, and I'm going to do this job, and I'm going to do it well.
The 2026 General Assembly convenes on Wednesday.
And a suspect who crashed a stolen vehicle into 2 different police cruisers is now in custody. On your screen is body camera footage from the Seat Pleasant police on December 24th when they spotted a stolen vehicle and tried to stop the driver, Notori Hayes. But she refused to stay and hit a cruiser while fleeing. A few days later, Virginia State Police saw the same vehicle and tried to stop it. Hayes attempted to flee again, struck one of their cruisers, and then rammed them into the wall. She is charged with theft, rogue, and vagabond, and malicious destruction of property.
Governor Wes Moore has announced legislative action to protect vaccine access for Marylanders. Moore's office says the legislation is a direct response to the Trump-Vance administration's efforts to discourage access to vaccines and undermine trust in vaccine science. The VAX Act of 2026 would allow the Maryland Health Secretary to issue vaccine recommendations without being tied to a federal agency. Meanwhile, America's overall diet advice just got a major overhaul, and the message is blunt: eat real food and cut the sugar. New federal dietary guidelines released by the Trump administration urges Americans to eat more whole foods and protein and avoid highly processed snacks and added sugars. Health officials say most Americans get more than half their daily calories from packaged foods linked to obesity and diabetes.
You say eat real food. What they really want to say is you want to eat foods that are not as processed. So I'll give an example, like eating an apple whole that is pulled off a tree is different from eating apple chips. Why? Because the apple chips have been processed. It's not the same as just picking an apple off the tree and eating it. So the foods are usually in their best form when they're whole. And then once you start doing a lot of things to make the foods taste different or have a different texture or consistency, that's when you're removing the nutrients and the fiber and things that are really important for our overall health.
The new guidance will shape school lunches and federal nutrition programs, though changes could take years to fully roll out.
While a well-known actress with ties to the region is celebrating their launch of her new children's book. Kelly S. Williams authored Triple Threat with her 2 childhood best friends, Dr. Lee Powell and Nay Staggs. The book tells the story of how the trio originally met at the Howard University Children's Theater. Now, decades later, the friendship has evolved into a project designed to uplift young girls through stories of confidence, leadership, and emotional awareness.
Our upbringing and the way that the arts has really shaped our path, no matter what way you go. So we decided to write a book about it and our journey together.
But not only that, we grew up in the 80s, so it was a very fun time. And now that we're all mothers, we saw the need. The kids nowadays, they are heavily into the electronics, like Kelly said, and they're not. The arts are not cultivated. So we felt that the book would be, help the children bring forward their creative side, let them speak out more, stop from hiding behind the cameras and the phones and tablets, and, be more vocal, be more creative.
The official book launch and media panel will be held at the Creative Arts Suitland Center this Saturday. For more information or to RSVP, visit eventbrite.com and search Triple Threat Book Launch or scan the QR code on your screen.
So to come on CTV News, do you want to have a say in what gets built in your community?
Well, now is your chance to join in the community's Neighborhood Planning Academy. We'll hear more about the program when we come back. Stay with us.
When I first had Jaden, I'd get comments all the time about how happy I must be. I remember thinking there must be something wrong with me because I don't feel all this joy I'm supposed to be feeling. It was hard to admit that, even to my doctor, but she told me it was postpartum depression and that is very treatable. These days things are feeling right, even if they don't always go that way.
When a child is fighting a critical illness, there's one truth that touches us all. Every child deserves a childhood. A wish is more than one joyful moment. It sparks a ripple of hope that transforms communities far and wide, even yours. When we grant wishes together, we unlock something bigger, an irresistible movement of kindness, strength, and unity. A spark that uplifts us all.
The whole spirit of what Make-A-Wish is and does, that isn't just life-changing for one individual or one family. That is world-changing.
Become a wishmaker today and be part of a journey that truly changes lives.
Many residents often want to say and what gets built in the community, but don't always know how the planning process works. Well, the Neighborhood Planning Academy is changing that, one class at a time.
That's right. They're now accepting applications for their spring cohort. And joining us in studio to discuss more details about the program is the county's planning department's acting planning director, Mr. James Hunt. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for doing it.
So for those who may not be too familiar with the program, can you kind of talk to us a little bit about it?
Sure. The Neighborhood Planning Academy is an academy that was started about 2 years ago to really provide the community an opportunity to know more about the development process. You know, we heard a lot of conversations and concerns from the community about, I don't know what development's coming on down the pipeline. I don't know what's coming in my community. I want to know how I can get engaged in that. And so what we did within the planning department is we came together and developed a program where we're able to talk about, through 6 different sessions to various areas of the development process, ranging from the development review aspect, which is subdivision, zoning. We're also talking about environmental impacts. We're talking about transportation. Obviously, that's a hot topic here in Prince George's County, right? So we're able to kind of walk through that transportation topic with the community so they know more about how they can better participate and what's coming down the pipeline at the same time.
Yeah. And how hands-on is the program? Are residents really working on real planning scenarios or neighborhood issues?
Absolutely. So for those first 6 courses, they're able to kind of walk through understanding what that process is. And at the very last, the 7th one is where they're able to come back and talk about their projects. So they talk about things such as concerns with transportation issues, environmental issues in their community. How can we address food systems and food inequities all throughout Prince George's? So they're learning a lot, and we're able to kind of hear from them what they want to see related to the planning process and how we will take that in on our part and how we can better develop, make legislative changes as well and work at making those recommendations.
Can you talk to us a little bit about how long the program is and how long is the program and how long does a session typically last?
So the program is for about 7 different sessions. The first 6 are whenever we're really talking about the development process. We have orchestrated it where it's in the evenings, on Wednesday evenings every night, and it's actually virtual. So, we understand people are working every day, right? So we give them time, of course, to get home, but they can participate virtually, and they log in, they're in there talking about those various topics. So we have a speaker, someone within the planning department, to talk about those various topics, and then they're able to ask various questions on those topics as well. And then at the very end, on that 7th session, we bring them into our headquarters here in Largo, and we talk about their various topics that they had, their projects. They're able to go through and get about 2 to 5 minutes on their projects as far as to kind of present those projects to us. And then at the very end, we have a dinner with them as well.
Nice. Now, do residents need any background in planning before being a part of this program?
Absolutely not. We just want you to be either Prince George's County residents or you have a business in Prince George's County. We want to spread the word throughout Prince George's what that is. So we get residents and applications right now for the entire month of January. And we'll get those applications in and we look and ensure that we're having candidates from all over Prince George's County, all 9 councilmanic districts. We ensure that they're participating as well. And we've gotten, even council members and their staff, we have them participate as well. And folks from the county executive's office, county staff have even applied and got in as well.
How can graduates use what they learn in the sessions beyond the classroom?
So I will say this, we've even had folks to further participate in the process, come and participate in the public hearings that take place. We've even had them to come and apply for positions within park and planning, right? So it's a great opportunity for us to really promote what we do and also promote how we can better engage our community and our citizens in Prince George's for change in what they want to see.
Yeah, and you talked about better engaging the community residents and their perspective. So what does better community input look like from the county's perspective?
Better community input is definitely seeing more people participating in that process. For us, being able to notice and see people on the community say that, I don't know much about it, I didn't know this development came through. We want to find ways to better get the word out because there are opportunities out there. I know within park and planning, we leverage social media, and I think that's one of the best ways to do it is through social media right now, to talk about those projects that are going on. We hear what people are saying and we see it, and so we're trying to see what we can do to kind of navigate through those waters to better inform them and kind of bring them in at the same time. We also have those public hearings online as well. You can actually participate if you want to do, I think virtually we're allowed to do virtually as well, virtual participation, especially during COVID when we had COVID. But right now we're able to kind of see a lot of that still happen.
And where can people go to find out more information about the program?
So if you go to pgplanning.org, we have a link on our website, and we also have everything up there so we can go to the application process and provide that information there.
Well, very insightful. Thank you so much, James.
Thank you.
The application deadline for the spring cohort of the Neighborhood Planning Academy is January 31st.
And again, to apply and learn more about the program, visit academy.pgplanning.com.
And it's almost time for the moment you've all been waiting for. It's our Thursday Sports page.
That's right. And for those Wizards fans out there, we bring you an exciting new update about the team. Stay with us.
The drug scene in Maryland is changing. Fentanyl and xylazine are being added to street drugs, and you may not even know it. Xylazine is not even intended for humans, and fentanyl is an opioid 50 times stronger than heroin and contributed to over 80% of overdose deaths in our state. Anyone who uses drugs, even occasionally, is at risk of overdose. To learn more, visit stopoverdose.maryland.gov or call or text 988.
All right, sports fans, let's get into our Thursday sports page. Last night, the Washington Wizards made a big move as they traded for four-star point guard Trae Young. The Wizards traded C.J. McCollum and Corey Kispert to the Atlanta Hawks for Young. He is a four-time All-Star who led the Atlanta Hawks to the Eastern Conference Finals in 2021, where he averaged 28 points and 6 assists against the eventual NBA champions, the Milwaukee Bucks. Young is still recovering from a quad concussion, so it is unclear when he will make his Wizards debut.
And the Prince George's Community College men's basketball team took on the Community College of Allegheny County last night. The Owls won 92-81 with big help from sophomore guard Willie Rivera Jr. He dropped a career-high 32 points, shooting 11 from 4 for 15 from the field and 3 for 4 from the three-point line. Rivera spoke to CTV Sports about his performance and said, "From our recent loss versus Davy Davidson, I had to get steam off my chest." The Owls are hot with a 13-3 record, which is their best start to a season since 2024. They're back in action this Friday as they face off against Howard Community College.
And there are tons of high school basketball games taking place tonight. And undefeated Flowers take on Bowie. Oxon Hill takes on CMIT Academy South. Laurel faces off against High Point. Largo squares off against Friendly, who's still looking for their first win of the season as they are 0-7.
Gwynn Park takes on Sarrettsville. Wise is on the court against Bladensburg. Eleanor Roosevelt is shooting it out against Parkdale, and Douglas squares up against College Park Academy. And lastly, Suitland takes on Duval. And that's a wrap for CTV News for now. Thank you so much for joining us.
We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good night.